Ted Hughes was married to Sylvia Plath. They were both American writers and poets, but after Sylvia Plath took her own life, Ted wrote a novel. The novel was written to help his children cope with the death of their mother. The story was about a giant metal man who helps show the world what worldwide lasting peace truly is. The novel was published in 1968, and it was called The Iron Man.
Nobody knew the Iron Man had fallen.
The year is 1999, and the box office is being flooded with films that will continue to be watched for many years to come. Like Tarzan, The Blair Witch Project, American Pie, The Sixth Sense, Inspector Gadget, and Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, just to name a few. All the movies were released by a diverse amount of different studios: Walt Disney Studios, Paramount Pictures, Artisan Entertainment, 20th Century Fox, Universal Studios, and many more. In the 90s, one specific animation studio seemed to struggle and had some hefty competition because of Disney. This was all during the Disney Renaissance, all happening primarily in the early 90s, and then coming to an abrupt stop with Tarzan. But I'm getting off topic, maybe for another video. Warner Brothers Animation Studios released quite a few movies during the 90s. Tom and Jerry the Movie, Cats Don't Dance, Space Jam, Quest to Camelot, and others. Only one of these movies was successful in the box office, and only part of it was animated. Take a guess, we all loved the movie. With Tarzan coming out June of 1999, and ending the Disney Renaissance, Warner Brothers had a chance in August. Warner Brothers Animation Studios released The Iron Giant August in 1999. The film actually made it to the top 10 in its first 2 weeks, unfortunately dropping below that by the 4th week. Now, we can argue all day that it's because Tarzan was released a couple months before, but Tarzan wasn't in the box office when Iron Giant got released, and the only movie alongside it that was really any competition was The Sixth Sense. And Inspector Gadget might have been on its last week, maybe last few days, which would have been the only friendly movie during the release. The issue was Warner Brothers' poor marketing and advertisement of the film before it was released to theaters. Brad Bird wasn't given a release date until April of 1999, only giving them 4 months to try and draw an audience for the film. Warner Brothers blamed their planning and poor marketing on animated film productions in general. This was because of the really unfortunate turnout and failure of Quest for Camelot, which was released the year prior by Warner Brothers Animation Studios. Box Office Mojo later reported that the entire budget for the film was $70 million, showing that about $20 million, give or take, was the budget used for the marketing, according to that report that came out at the time of the release. Now, they really only had about 4 months to advertise for the film when Warner Brothers gave Bird the thumbs up in April. But they didn't use really much of that marketing budget to advertise the film coming to theaters. Instead, they advertised the life out of the VHS and DVD releases.
Warner Home Video proudly presents the family movie event of the 4th quarter, The Iron Giant is the best-reviewed family movie of the decade. An instant classic. A must-see. E.T. all over again. A wondrous delight for the whole family. The best animated film of the decade. Critics raved about it. More importantly, parents love it. And kids are going to have it.
Toys even came with the VHS tape sometimes. I remember seeing them like displays in stores. And I kind of still want one. They could have had fast food tie-ins before the film and done the same that Disney did for Tarzan. They just didn't have enough time, and they really didn't plan ahead. They didn't actually team up with Honey Nut Cheerios until the VHS release. Warner Brothers realized they made a mistake, and they requested to postpone the film for 2 more months to properly prepare. But when Bird heard that, Bird replied, "You guys have had 2.5 years to get ready for this." T.L. Stanley of Brand Week cited the failure of the Iron Giant as an example of how important it is to have media tie-ins for a film's success.
A General Motors car sweepstakes. Consumers can win a Warner Brothers Special Edition Chevrolet Venture minivan.
Lorenzo di Bonaventura, who was president of Warner Brothers at the time, said in regards to the film, "People always say to me, why don't you make smarter family movies? The lesson is, every time you do, you get slaughtered." Which I don't believe was true. The film did not do well financially, but not fault to the movie. The film was nominated for many different awards, and also won quite a few. Bird was nominated for the Nebula Award, which is an award for the best sci-fi work published in the US. The film even won 9 out of 15 Annie Awards, which were multiple Best Animated Film awards. Joe Morgenstern from the Wall Street Journal said, "Beautiful, oh so beautiful as a work of coherent art." And Michael Sragro at The New Yorker called the modern film a modern fairy tale, also stating, "The movie provides a masterclass in the use of scale and perspective, and in its power to open up a viewer's heart and mind." Which I feel is a little profound for a children's animated film, but I do agree. The score of the film was composed and conducted by Michael Kamen, who only scored for Bird once until Bird went to solely work with Michael Giacchino. Kamen went to Prague to find an orchestra that would fit the desired sound Bird was specifically inquiring. Kamen found the Czech Philharmonic Orchestra, and they recorded the score in 1 week at the Ridolfinum. It later won Annie Awards for music in an animated feature production.
Half the movie experience is sound. Sound has a great deal of impact on how you perceive a film.
The Iron Giant had an incredible animation and color that competed with the top animation studios like DreamWorks and Disney. And it also only had about 1/3 to half of the money that Disney or DreamWorks would have had on a similar film. Well, for example, Disney's Tarzan that came out that summer of '99, its entire budget was $130 million. DreamWorks' Ants 1998 was around about $105 million. And this is comparing to the Iron Giant's budget of just $150 million, and that's not including the marketing. The Iron Giant used Adobe After Effects as the software for the animation. The animators even went to visit Maine to make sure that we would capture the likeness and culture in the movie. Bird would have the animation team gather into a room to view a complete sequence together. He then would draw on a screen with a marker and make suggestions. Lead animator Baisley claimed that this unified the team and motivated them more than anything, and it made them want to create a good film. Bird mentioned his favorite moment in the production was when the whole crew gathered in this same room to view a sequence. They were viewing the sequence when the giant learns what a soul is. Bird said, in regards to this, "People in the room were spontaneously crying. It was pivotal. There was an undeniable feeling that we were really tapping into something." Art from Norman Rockwell, Edward Hopper, and Newell Conver's wife, inspired the film's design. Mark Whiting, who was the production designer, drew towards colors that had both the setting and time period, but also around the emotion of the film. Animators studied Chuck Jones, cartoonist from the Looney Tunes.
Gosh, ain't I a stinker?
Hank Ketchum, cartoonist and animator for the movies such as Disney's Pinocchio, Fantasia, Bambi, and Donald Duck short cartoons. And Al Hirschfeld, who was a cartoonist in the mid-1900s. The animators also drew inspiration from Disney films from the same era of the 1950s, like 101 Dalmatians. Alright, so let's talk about the voice cast. This cast was phenomenal. The most interesting thing is that Vin Diesel actually voiced the giant. Yeah, Vin Diesel, which still wrinkles my brain a bit because it doesn't sound anything like him at all. Okay, moving on. So, Bird had Jennifer Aniston. Yes, Jennifer Aniston was in this. And Bird had her voice, Annie Hughes.
100-foot robots and whatnot.
A 100-foot robot?
A widow of a military pilot and Hogarth's mother, who she also works in a diner in the town of Maine. Then we have Harry Connick Jr., who voiced Dean McCoppin. He's a beatnik artist who also owns a junkyard, and this is the same junkyard that they keep the giant in inside the film. He's a bit of an outsider, and I think is why he was able to relate to the giant and accept him as a kind entity.
Can't. He only reacts defensively. If you don't shoot, he's harmless.
Eli Marienthal voiced Hogarth Hughes, who's an ecstatic 9-year-old boy with an imagination that actually leads him to go search for the giant. This film was probably Eli's first real big role. He did a few things afterwards that stand out to me, but maybe not for others. Nonetheless, I still think he did a fantastic job.
Stop! The devil! From doing bad things.
And then we have Christopher McDonald. Chris McDonald, who voices Kent Mansley. Kent Mansley is a character who is the film's antagonist. He's a federal agent, and he fearmongers the people of Maine, and becomes obsessed with capturing the giant. And he has like some fear that it, might be some weapon that's supposed to be used to destroy America. His voice completely encapsulates the character perfectly.
Hey there, Scout. Kent Mansley. Work for the government. Your parents home?
Or eating.
Boy.
Who's there, honey?
Oh, hello there. Do you have a telephone I could use?
This voice cast really was fantastic. Not that they're all supposedly like great voice actors, but they were just casted so well in this movie. The Iron Giant was really an incredible film, and I know that isn't a secret or even a new idea, but the fact that Warner Brothers didn't think that it needed to be marketed and advertised like any other movie really just blows me away. After their disaster that was Quest for Camelot, they didn't give this movie the attention it deserved or needed, and they really paid the price. Warner Brothers screwed the pooch on this film. If they could have marketed it correctly, I think they could have had a game changer for them. Or, to say it in terms that they would have liked to hear it, a moneymaker. Instead, this movie did its best and really was what it chose to be. A heartfelt film that makes our hearts soar every time we watch it, and gives us a lesson that we try to learn almost every day. You are who you choose to be. And now it lives on in trash TV.
Stay. I go.
All you trash heads that stuck around for the end of the video, thank you. You truly make all this worth it, and I appreciate you more than you know. Follow Trash TV on Twitter and Instagram. There's links in the description. We post often, and it's not always just about what the next video will be. We make all kinds of cool posts about other shows and movies and just cool things about them, so definitely go check it out. Well, I really appreciate you coming out, and I really hope to see you here next time when we talk about some more Trash TV.